What's up, guys? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and this is your Fanduel NFL Week 7 first look. And what we do here is we take a look at the Fanduel pricing system, take a look at the salaries for the week, see who's popping, see who's not, see what looks good for the week. So, a couple things I like to do before we get started. First of all, I'm popping over to the DFS Army Domination Station Optimizer, and what I'm doing is I've got Fanduel loaded, and I'm just going to sort by fantasy points per dollar. And what this is a measure of player value across each position group. So the reason I do this every week before I start to make any lineups is I just want to see who's popping in the projection models, which players are popping off as good values against their salary. And this is Tuesday, so we're really early in the week. We really haven't found out about injuries from the weekend slate. There were no major injuries that I can think of over the week 6 slate. So nothing really is exploding. There's no backup running back at the moment that's replacing a starter and massively undervalued. We don't have anything like that. So we're just going to take a quick browse and all the position groups. And of course, yeah, Tom Brady stands out here as the highest points per dollar value. Geno Smith is in there. And then Lamar Jackson on the pay up side. Really good. And of course, we've got Dak Prescott, probably coming back from injury, but again, unclear how he'll look coming off that injury. Justin Herbert, and we can see that most of the quarterbacks' values are really, really similar. So looks like the QB choice is going to be difficult and maybe not as consequential as it might generally be. Here we're sorting the running back values, and A.J. Dillon's just popping up here because he's really, really inexpensive. But you got Joe Mixon up top, Aaron Jones a little priced down. Could be interesting at 68. I'm not a big Aaron Jones guy, but I like his salary level on FanDuel compared to DraftKings. Uncle Lenny at 8,400. Popping off a little bit. Josh Jacobs, 8,600. Whoa. Massive price hike for Josh Jacobs. And here we've got Jeff Wilson Jr., who is a touchdown scorer, priced pretty low at 6,300. Interestingly, some of my favorites like Kenny Walker and Breece Hall are not popping off as major values, but part of that is also it's early in the week, and these are very, very sort of milk toast projections that haven't really taken much of week 6 into account. So these are really kind of milk toast. These will change as the week progresses. But at wide receiver, Brandon Cook, 6,300, fine. Deebo Samuel, DK Metcalf, and Lockett priced down a little bit there. So a couple interesting names popping off at wide receiver. And finally, a tight end, even priced up, Andrews and Kelsey still show as the top two values on the slate. I do have a pay down option at tight end that I will talk about. We don't always need that on FanDuel. I did use him in the DraftKings first look, but we got a pay down option. Now, next step is to take a look at our game tiles and just get a sense of what we like or dislike about each team. But before we do that, I have to let you know that this is NBA tip-off week, and we are excited over at DFS Army. We've set up our biggest promo ever. So if you've been waiting to sign up for DFS Army, get access to our incredible research tools, our player prop tools, our domination station optimizer, cheat sheets for every slate, NBA, it's late breaking news in our Discord. We are on top of it. We've got full-time people, uppers lad, just monitoring the news and giving us breakdowns the second it happens. Promo code TIPOFF gets you 20% off locked in forever of whatever plan you do. VIP, Core 4, if you just want the 4 core sports. If you just want NBA only, it's 20% off. It's this week only. I'm telling you, do it now if you've been waiting. If you've been waiting, just do it. DFS Army promo code TIPOFF. So make sure you check that out before it's gone. All right, so here we go. Taking a look at the game tiles. I'm using the Domination Station Optimizer game tile screen for this. It gives us projected team totals, which is pretty cool here. So you can see here that this is a low total game with the Bucks at the Panthers, but the Bucks team total sitting at a healthy 25.75 points, even though the game only has 40.5. So a domination by the Bucks. Bucks defense in play, Leonard Fournette, and I would say Brady and his pieces are playable there as well. Bengals are on the road at the Falcons. Oh, no, actually, the Falcons are on the road at the Bengals here. And Bengals have a healthy 26.75 point team total, even better, 47.5 point total on the game. So that game looks pretty good. And the Falcons have been pretty good about keeping these games close. So expect that the Bengals will be pedal to the metal. Burrow broke out last week with Jamar Chase. And I don't have any problem going right back to it. Although Burrow has not been a consistent scorer, maybe he's got a little less swag back. A little swag. Right? Colts at the Titans, both very low team total games. Matt Ryan had a great game last week. And, he threw 48 times or 58 times, some massive number of targets last week. I think a lot of that had to do with Jonathan Taylor being out and them really not having much of a running game to lean on. Let's see if Taylor comes back, because I think if he does, they'll lean on him and that passing game will come in a little bit. Ravens at home taking on the Browns here. Again, a hearty 26.5 point team total for the Ravens. I like this game. I like the Ravens side of it. Andrews and, of course, Lamar and all of that look just fine. Here we go. 41.5 point total on this Packers at the Commanders game. Commanders, who's the quarterback? I don't know. Heineke? I don't know. I don't like that spot. Packers coming off a couple losses to the New York teams. They're going to want to make up for it here. They're going to bounce back. So I think they'll get right in this spot. And, I never play Rodgers in DFS, so I'm not starting now. Giants at the Jaguars. The Giants have some wide receivers that are interesting. Always Saquon Barkley, and Wan'Dale Robinson got a touchdown last week. I think his usage is going to increase. Giants have no one to throw to. So Wan'Dale Robinson, great. If he's going to be that guy, in college, he got a 40% participation share in his team's offense. So Wan'Dale's a guy that, wherever he's gone has been heavily utilized. Let's see if the Giants do it. So I'm interested in Wan'Dale Robinson. On the Jaguar side, not that much. Not really. I mean, they have their pieces, but they don't stand out at all. Lions at the Cowboys. Listen, Lions games have been high scoring. This might be a spot to take a chance on Dak, assuming he comes back, and his weapons. Dak is super, super priced down on FanDuel. I like that. I like games against the Lions. They produce high scores. So I am interested in Dak. Probably going to be GPP only, like a tournament play, because obviously it's hard to trust a guy who's a quarterback coming off an injury. But man, that Dallas offense, Gallup is very inexpensive. Even the running back, could this be a Zeke game finally? Like, if it's ever going to happen, this might be it. So, I'm keeping Dallas in mind, and their 27.5 point team total is the highest. You got to trust Vegas. So people are like, hey, is Dallas back? Is Dallas going to be able to score? Trust the Vegas line here. Dallas has the highest team total on the slate outside of maybe Baltimore. No, theirs is the highest. So, theirs is the actual high. Theirs is the highest at 27.5. So, you know what? We got to, here we go. The Chargers are a little bit higher, and we're going to keep an eye on them as well. So the only team with a higher team total on the slate is the Chargers, and we'll get to them in a minute here. But I like the Dallas side. That Dallas offense is going to be interesting. Jets at the Broncos. Jets defense in play. Jets defense looks good. I do not like the pass catchers, though, for the Jets here. Broncos defense is fantastic. So it's not like teams are putting up monster numbers against them. We just saw them play on Monday night. It wasn't like the Chargers played them. They got a lot of good weapons. In the end of the day, Austin Eckler had the good game, got a lot of receptions, and he was the guy. I can see Breece Hall getting there for the Jets, but I like Jets defense just because Russ stinks. And as for the pieces on the Broncos, I don't have much confidence at all. Of course, Cortland Sutton is the best of those pieces, but I don't have much confidence. I like the Jets defense here. Texans at the Raiders. Raiders offense could be interesting as well, but I think the main player might wind up being Josh Jacobs. And Josh Jacobs is so much cheaper on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel, relatively speaking, that I'm just going to play him over there. I will skip him on FanDuel because at some time there are situations where you need to favor the site. I know we're talking FanDuel here, but if DraftKings is going to charge massively cheaper prices for Josh Jacobs, a player, then I got to play him over there. I'm not going to the expensive market in town. I'm going to ShopRite. It's on sale. Other pieces from this game. I don't like a whole lot going on with the Raiders. I mean, Devontae Adams is always in play, but I don't think we're going to have the salary to pay up for luxury elite wide receivers. Houston side, I mean, Dameon Pierce, great. Sure. And Brandon Cooks. Yeah. Okay. Brandon Cooks, very, very well priced on both sides. So Brandon Cooks will be interesting. And of course, Josh Jacobs on DraftKings, not FanDuel. Last two games on the slate. We've got the Chiefs at San Francisco. I really like this game. I like Kansas City side of it. Listen, San Francisco's defense is great, but it's San Francisco's offense that actually interests me here because the Chiefs will be able to put up numbers. So the 49ers are going to have to answer in this game. They can't rely on Jeff Wilson Jr. Jeff Wilson Jr., by the way, is priced very, very well on FanDuel this week, and I'm interested. So in an interesting twist, Jeff Wilson Jr. is more expensive than Dameon Pierce and Kenny Walker and those guys on DraftKings. But on FanDuel, he's over $1,000 cheaper than them. And in some cases, $2,000. Jeff Wilson Jr., same price as Josh Jacobs on DraftKings. So there is a major value situation brewing here with Jeff Wilson Jr. on FanDuel. And he's a touchdown guy. So that's a good spot. This isn't a great matchup for the running game for San Francisco, but I don't think it matters. If they're on the goal line, there's a good chance he's going to smash it in. So we just need a touchdown. He's 6,300 on FanDuel. I'm interested. I'm also interested in Deebo Samuel and definitely Brandon Ayuk, also underpriced on FanDuel relative to DraftKings. So a lot of the pieces from the San Francisco offense are really reasonably priced, and it kind of makes me want to build a lineup around Jimmy G, although I would never kind of base my week around that. Last game on the slate is the best game. So let's keep this one heavy on our minds. Seahawks traveling to LA to take on the Chargers. 51-point total. Chargers are slight favorites here. Looks like 4-point favorites, 4.5. So this one has a 51-point total. The Chargers have that 28.75 team total. And the Seahawks, despite what happened last week where they handled Arizona, that's because Arizona sucks. They suck. You know what else sucks? Kyler Murray sucks. You know who doesn't suck? Herbert and the Chargers. So I think this game can go back to being those high-scoring Seattle games, which means the Chargers are a team you want to be building around most likely this week. And I don't mind bringbacks from Seattle. So we're going to build a heavy Seattle Charger stack for our first lineup. And actually, I'm going to do it two ways. We're going to do a little something bonus here. I'm going to do it two ways. I'm going to do a Geno version, and I'm going to do a Herbert version. I'm going to do a little bit of both. And what I'd like you to do now is let me know, are there other games that you'd want to build around this week that you're seeing here? Who are you building around? Which quarterback stacks do you like on FanDuel NFL Week 1? Drop a comment in the comment section below. And of course, remember to like and subscribe and notify and ring the bell. Do it all. Ring the bell. Ring it. Do it now. Subscribe. I'll wait. I'll take my time. I'll be quiet. Just do it. You can do it. Do it now. Help a brother out. Do it now. All right. I'm going to move myself to the side window so we can get a look at the full screen. You know, DraftKings, again, they put that thing over on the side. I can exist in the corner. FanDuel, not so much. So let's start building. Oh, what the hell is this? Thursday bomb? We don't want that. Let's start building our lineup for FanDuel this week. Oops, take that off the screen. Don't ruin the surprise. Hope you didn't look at that. We're going to go through it. So what we said we're going to do is we're going to build a Herbert-focused lineup, and then we'll do a Geno Smith-focused lineup built around the same game. Now, one of the things I've already observed for this week is that salaries are tight. They work a little bit better on FanDuel because of the Jeff Wilson Jr. If you're willing to play him, the Jeff Wilson Jr. sort of salary savings code. But for the most part, there are very, very few value plays at the running back position on FanDuel this week. Very few. Outside of Jeff Wilson Jr., there really aren't. You got to hang out in the 7K area, which means we have to find our value at wide receiver. I've identified a couple of those spots, so we'll get them in these lineups. But let's build around quarterback. So I already said I like Lamar this week. Great. And if we can get to him, fine. I definitely want to build lineups around him. Mahomes, second, one of the higher scoring teams on the slate. And of course, on the road, it's a tougher defense, but I don't think it matters. I think this game has potential to pop, and I would be surprised if some of you guys don't mention that one in the comments. Joe Burrow, of course, coming off the big week last week. He's in play. Sure. Big team total, not and Atlanta keeps games competitive, but I'll go with my favorite defense to target against, Seattle. We'll try it again this week with Justin Herbert. Now, we pop him in the lineup. Now, one thing I want to mention about Herbert is, the best stack with Herbert has been Mike Williams. He didn't do much last week, and we didn't expect him to, going up against Pat Surtain. But the Seahawks don't really have a cornerback that you have to worry too much about. So I think we can get right back to Mike Williams here as a stack with Herbert. And again, this is contingent on Keenan Allen not playing. I'm assuming that he will not play. He's setting his sights on a return, blah, blah, blah. He was setting his sights on a week 16, a week 6 return and didn't have it. So if Keenan Allen comes back, we have to rethink this whole thing, especially from the Herbert side of it, because it's harder for Herbert to get there. He spreads the football around. It's harder for any of these like a pay up for Mike Williams is a lot sketchier when Keenan Allen plays. So let's pay attention to that. But for now, we'll leave it here. If we had to, we could play Palmer. But again, with Keenan Allen in there, the whole thing just gets gross. All right, so we've got our quarterback, we've got our wide receiver stack, and we'll do a Geno version as well. I love it. I love doing both on the same game. It's going to be fun. So, we already talked about some of these running backs. Austin Eckler is great. Can I afford him at 9,500? It's going to be tough. Let's see what these numbers. Yeah, when he doesn't get a bunch of touchdowns, yeah, it's going to be tricky for him to get there. I mean, 16 targets, 10 receptions last week. That was nuts. Right. And it took all of that for him to get there against the Broncos. But I think Eckler's got big upside, but I'm not paying 9,500. I'm not paying this price. Saquon Barkley, same deal. Where are the big games from Saquon here? He's got a 30 week one, and it's 10 and 20 and 17, 18 and 17, 9, 18, 20. We need at least 27, probably 30 plus from a 9K player. And he's just not there. Derrick Henry, I do think, has that 30 plus point upside on occasion. We haven't seen it, but I do like Derrick Henry. 9,200, still a little spendful for him, but I like him better than the other two. This is FanDuel, and touchdowns are king, and Derrick Henry is absolutely live for 2 touchdowns in a game like that. I could see it. I could see the 2 touchdowns happening. But again, I've already made some lineups, and I've already discovered you just cannot pay up luxuriously. So if we can get there later on, we'll swap up. But initially, I don't think it's wise to plug in these 9 or even high 8K players. I've already said my piece about Nick Chubb week after week after week. He's rarely somebody I want to roster on DraftKings, and he's been pretty good on FanDuel this season, but not necessarily helping you take down tournaments either. CM Sizzles, Christian McCaffrey, one of the cheapest prices we've ever seen, but no. No quarterback. Josh Jacobs, 8,600. Screw that. I'm playing him on FanDuel where he is 6,500. It is too big of a gap for my taste. Leonard Fournette's in a good spot. A little priced up here, but I like the spot. 11-point favored Tampa. Fournette's probably going to beast in that game. But let's get down to the 7K zone where we kind of want to live this week. DeAndre Swift, he's coming back. I don't like this Q tag. Take it away. I'm sick of seeing the Q tag on this guy. I'm sick of it. It's always there. Get healthy, bro. Enough. I think he comes back, but I'm not quite ready to play him in that matchup against Dallas. Dallas too good. No. My first play is going to be Kenny Walker Jr. And we're building around a game. Seattle, LA. Might as well use the running back. The Chargers are last in the league at stopping the run, despite what you saw on Monday night, where they stopped the dust of Gordon, who is dust. Melvin Gordon, right? But they stopped him, fine. But you know who they're not going to stop? Kenneth Walker. This guy is no joke. I said it last week. He had a great game. It's coming. Another big one. Plugging in Kenny Walker here. I love the correlation as part of this big game stack. All right, next up. I'm going to plug in. Now, there's some other names here. Joe Mixon? Sure. Even Zeke Elliott, we could play him. I know. It seems crazy. We've got essentially what is I'll call cheat code, though. Jeff Wilson Jr. And I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the savings. We paid up for a QB a little bit. We're going to have to find some savings somewhere. We can get it here with Jeff Wilson Jr. And maybe, just maybe, this allows us to pay up for a tight end, but I doubt it. I'd love to get a luxury tight end in there, though. All right, let's talk defense. And one of the things I always like to do is find the cheapest viable defense we could just plug and play. Right? And then we'll get to defenses we really like to put up a big score. But the first one is, who can we plug and play? So just looking at the bottom, Seattle's a high-scoring game against the Chargers, and I'm not playing a defense against my quarterback. Detroit is in a bad spot. Houston, bad spot. Atlanta, bad spot. Cleveland, bad spot. Carolina, bad spot. Really bad. Here's one. I mean, the Bengals at home against Atlanta. Okay. All right. Washington at home against the Packers. Not in love with it. Packers looking real bad in ranking because what the Jets put a beating on them. But this Commanders team is a mess. Chiefs at San Francisco. Want to play the Chiefs? No. Chargers against Seattle. That's probably a no. It's really tough this week. None of these defenses really stand out. I'm not playing a team against KC. That's no good. Raiders, 4K against Houston. In play. We got the Jets here. We got the Titans. So we're probably going to have to hang in this zone. And of course, the Packers, who I like a lot, depending on who the QB is. But let's go to the cheapest viable of this group. I'm going to go with Raiders here. Houston, the Raiders are at home taking on the Texans. Texans not that good. Young quarterback, mistake prone. Let's do that. So that leaves us 6K per. Let's go take a look at tight end. So at tight end, once again, we have our dichotomy, Andrews and Kelsey, with Andrews now priced the highest. Interesting. Okay. I think I like Kelsey a little bit more. But whatever. Andrews priced all the way up. Kelsey at 8,300. Love Kelsey if we can afford him. Let's see what that does, though. Oof, makes it gross. Probably not going to be able to afford this. But, if we could, I like it. But we probably won't. George Kittle at 6,600 is interesting. I normally don't play George Kittle, but this is the kind of week where we could see elevated passing game work from Kittle. So I'm interested in him. I normally don't play him, but at 6,600, he's kind of priced the rest of almost like a Turdley zone. It's not bad. But my favorite play, there's two guys that I really like. Cade Otton here at 4,900, but he's not, that's savings, but it's not that great. We could take a look at Dalton Schultz if he's healthy. Tweaked his knee, practice, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Let's keep Dalton Schultz in mind. If Dak comes back, I think he's going to lean on Dalton Schultz. So let's keep him in mind. That's all I could say. Cade Otton, let's keep him in mind. But because I don't know about Schultz's injury thing, and because Cade Otton is priced pretty close to Njoku, I really like Njoku. He's averaging 6+ targets per game. This is a game where I think Cleveland will have to throw the football. They're going to be against Baltimore, and they're going to have to really bring their A game to try to win this. So let's plug in David Njoku here. And again, who do you like at tight end? Let me know in the comments section below. Now we're going to look for some wide receiver action for the last two spots. And knowing that we've got, all right, 6,900 left. So we're doing all right. We're doing all right because we plugged in Jeff Wilson. We took our value at running back for better or worse. We're doing okay. So let's take a look at some of these wide receivers now. I want a correlative bring back wide receiver, and we can choose here between Metcalf or Lockett. They're both around the same price here at 6,900. There are some well-priced players here, honestly, at wide receiver that I like all of them. So, I mean, it almost behooves us to try to get up to this upper 7K zone because there's so many great plays here. Again, CeeDee Lamb, great. If with Dak and Debo, I think he looks great in this game. They're going to have to throw to him a lot. Evans is fine. Pittman coming off the big game. I don't see why he can't do that again. Amon-Ra, usually a good play. So there's a lot of really good plays up top here. But if I want to keep it correlative, let's go with DK Metcalf. So a little bit of bring back, still building around this Chargers-Seattle game. I think that's a good way to build. That leaves us with 6,950 and two more spots left. So I'm going to take a look at the flex here, and let's see who our wish list guy might be. My favorite. I definitely like Breece Hall. I like Joe Mixon. You always want to use 3 running backs on DraftKings. Let's see if we can get an expensive guy that locks in some touchdowns. So if we put in Derrick Henry, 4,700 left, cannot make a lineup. Doesn't work. All right. Derrick Henry, no go. Lenny Fournette, playable. Let's see what he's been putting up on this site. Yeah, man. It's a little risky to pay up that much for Fournette, but if we did that, we're left with 5,500. Still not very good. So let's actually go with a middling priced wide receiver for our third guy. Actually, we'll go with either a middling or even a lower priced wide receiver here. Let's see. So I'm not going to double down. I like Lockett at 66, Lazard at 6,600. That's a good play. I don't want to do two players, but here's a guy I really like a lot as well. Brandon Ayuk, a big bargain on DraftKings on FanDuel compared to DraftKings this week. That leaves us with 7,600 for our flex spot. And let's see what we can do in the flex with that amount. Breece Hall, Breece Lightning. There we go. There you have it. First look lineup built around Justin Herbert stack. And you ready for this? Let's adjust this now. I promised you a version with Geno Smith where we save at the quarterback position. So let's flip it around. Geno. 6,800 is significant savings. Look how much salary I've got left, 1,300. Now, two things I want to change here. I love Kenny Walker. I think he's such a good value that I actually think you could play him even with, I'm going to play him even with Geno. I don't even fuck. But normally I don't like to pair a running back with a quarterback. But I just love Kenny Walker, so he's a core play for me this week. So, whatever. I'm doing it. But the savings going from Herbert down to Geno, again, it's 1,300. So, number one, let's think about that in terms of what it means for our scoring. So, at 8K, Herbert needed to get us 24-ish fantasy points to return 3x value, which keeps us on pace for 180 points on. Get this out of here. I don't know why it does that. 180 fantasy points on FanDuel, right? 100 keeps us on tournament winning pace. We want to get 3.5 to 4x to really get there. So at 7K, Geno needs about 21 points to keep us on pace with a 28-point game. Or no, it's with a 24-point game from Herbert. We need 21 from Geno. So the question is, are we saving enough salary to make up for paying down and going down to Geno from what is pretty much an elite quarterback down to a Geno Smith, which is not an elite quarterback. I don't know. I kind of think we're going to live in the just pay up for the quarterback and suck it up this week zone. But Jeff will going to be forced to use a Jeff Wilson or somebody like that to make it happen. I do have some other value plays like Wan'Dale Robinson and names like that we could save some funds on, or Brandon Ayuk, of course, that we can save money on FanDuel to make these lineups work with the pay up quarterback. But if we pay down, we save 1,300 in salary. Let's see what we can do with that. So you know what? I would take out Mike Williams here. As I'd probably want to try to get to. I probably want to get rid of Mike Williams because that was really more of the other lineup that we built. Who could we plug in? I mean, if we take out Mike Williams, we could just plug in whoever we want, really. But let's plug in Jamar Chase and see how much salary we have left. 600 left here. I think we're still kind of stuck with Jeff Wilson Jr., but I could probably swap in somebody for Breece Hall. Let's see. I like Breece. Like Jonathan Taylor. Okay. Let's say Jonathan Taylor's going to play. Ruled out week 6. That would be a nice spot, but I don't want to really plug him in because I don't know if he's playing. What if we did a tight end pay up? 5,600 for the last spot. That's not going to work. So here we go. I've got a fun idea. Let's get an elite tight end here. Use this Geno savings to get there. That means we cannot pay 8,500 for our wide receiver, but we got to kind of keep it a little more middling. So let's find a wide receiver that we like a little bit cheaper. I really like Wan'Dale Robinson, but Romeo Doubs is okay. Devin Duvernay is playable in this zone. Josh Palmer, if we want a piece from this game, but like a different piece. How about we plug in Palmer in this one? And then in the flex, Yeah, we got 8,400. We got Fournette in there. So, this one's interesting. Okay. So, Geno, we kept Kenny Walker. I know it feels like negative correlation, but I think Kenny Walker's so good. He can have a good game with Geno. He can catch a pass. So I'm going to leave it in there. Jeff Wilson Jr., do I love it? No, but I think he can score a touchdown this week, and that's really all we need at 6,300. Get me 70 yards and a touchdown. It's not going to do much in the passing game. We paid down at wide receiver, but we kept it correlative with Geno, Palmer, Metcalf. Then we got a couple pieces from this San Francisco game, a little back and forth, little secondary stack. Brandon Ayuk, Travis Kelce, secondary stack. Boom. Wilson, Kelce, Fournette. Wilson, Kelce, Ayuk, secondary stack. Close it out with Fournette, who's in a great spot. This could be swapped out for just about anything in the flex. This is a flex, so I wouldn't mind getting Chase, but he's just a little bit more expensive. I wouldn't mind doubling down at tight end. A lot of these spots, if we got up to Josh Jacobs, fine. I ain't doing it. Or if Jonathan Taylor is starting, I don't mind that. So there's so many different areas here that we can close this lineup out with. But we're closing it out with Lenny Fournette, Raiders defense, cheap, viable. Damian Pierce is in play with this price point as well. So a lot of different ways we can go here. We got a Geno lineup. We got a Herbert lineup. That is your FanDuel first look. Remember to sign up at DFS Army using promo code TIPOFF, like NBA tip-off. First game, 2-game slate. We got a lot going on for NBA. NBA for us is the ultimate. We have our whole team on it. Full-time staff checking the injury reports and updating us in real time. That is the key to winning NBA. Domination Station Optimizer with late swaps going. We've got everything you need to absolutely dominate. Core plays from elite players that have taken down multiple 6-figure tournaments. I just use the cores and the Dom Station, and I'm able to make money. So make sure you sign up for DFS Army now using promo code TIPOFF. Get that 20% off. You'll never see it again. Good luck this week, everybody. I'll see you next time. Take care.